I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all of this. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, she on my greed. That's how I get it, success ain't no giving. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous, down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank, I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze, the roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag, I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag, I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket, Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit, nose diving in the house and woo. Watch how I get ahead, watch how I get ahead, watch how I get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out.
And we're back. Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, guys. We have a very fun show to look forward to. UFC 275, 11 fights to talk about. Unfortunately, we did lose the Bontarin Cop fight, which is going to be a good one. But yeah, should still be a very fun card. Maybe not the most name value down there on those prelims, but I'm really looking forward to this one. We'll kick it off to Weezy. Weezy, what is up? How you feeling today?
Doing good, man. Ready for this card. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait for this pay-per-view as well. Some really good fights on here. There aren't a lot of strong leans one way or another, but the spots that I hit them hard. Can't wait to talk about them with you guys.
Yeah, I think from a money line perspective, it's kind of a challenging card. We see a lot of line movement today as well. We'll talk about that. But Erik, how you feeling about this card, man?
I'm feeling good. I kind of went the opposite of Weezy. Instead of picking my spots and going hard, I feel like I bet on everything. I ended up with a lot of bets and a lot of prop sprinkles and stuff on this card. So, you know, I might win, I might lose, but it's going to be fun anyway because I got bets on just about everything.
Erik, best of luck to you. I'm kind of light-ish myself. There are two spots that I went extremely heavy on, but kind of lighter on everything else. But yeah, it should be a fun card. I think it's going to be a really good time. Before we get started, guys, if you guys can please leave a like on the video, subscribe here on the channel, and then I also put the link down in the description below for Weezy's channel, Erik's channel, and also the MMA Engine channel. We are 13 subscribers away from 1,000 on the MMA Engine channel. So if you guys have not subscribed yet, be sure to do so. We were trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by fight time, which is about 57 minutes. So I'll shout out the chat real quick, then we'll get started. We got Mike first in the chat. We got Brandon hanging out as always. Javier, we got Bailey, we got Blood Money. What is up? Newton, we have Paul in the chat. Grateful Dude, Amsterdam. We got Lou Betcha hanging out as always in there. We got Nine Bray in the chat. We got Gus. We have Daz. What is up, Daz? JP hanging out. We got Dan Goldstein hanging out as well. Raw Torque. Shaky, all you guys, thank you for hanging out. Do appreciate you all hanging out each and every week here on a Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. But I say we get into it, and let us start with the very first fight of the night. And I'm not sure what's going on with best fight odds, but got to kind of go on a scavenger hunt for all the odds here. But have them up right here for you guys. We have Jocelyn Edwards going against Romana Pasqual. And I did see that you have a play on this fight, Erik. So, Erik, you can start us off. What do you like for the first fight of the night?
Yeah, they say you're supposed to state your biases, and everybody who follows me on Twitter knows I'm a Romana Pasqual simp and have been since day one. So just getting that out there. But yeah, I did bet her money line, and I did put a little bit on her by decision too at plus. It was like plus 275, plus 300, something like that. You know, it's not a pick that I'm super confident in, but I do think it can be a decent fight for Pasqual if she looks to push the wrestling early and often, and if she's able to get the takedowns. I do think it could be a decent fight for her, and I do think this fight probably goes to decision. So considering she was like plus 150 on the money line and was like somewhere around plus 300 on the decision, I think it makes sense. If you like her, I think it makes sense to take that decision prop here.
Yep, Erik. I mean, I agree. This is one of the fights where I'm trying my best this year to not bet fights like this because I'm typically not good at getting these right. And I'm trying to stay away from these low fights, but it absolutely makes sense. I'm not betting this fight personally, but if I was forced to bet this fight, it would absolutely be on the dog, Romana Pasqual. Jocelyn Edwards, what does she struggle with? The takedown defense, the get-up game. We saw how thick Romana was at the weigh-ins, and I was expecting Jocelyn Edwards to be a little bit taller than Romana, but at the weigh-ins, they're kind of about the same height. And then you could see the thickness of Pasqual as well. You have Edwards coming up a weight class. I think Romana can absolutely go out there, get takedowns. And if she gets takedowns, stay on top, avoid the armbar from guard as well. So, yeah, I'm with you, Erik. I like Pasqual. Am I going to bet it? Probably not. But if I was forced to bet this fight, it would absolutely be on the dog. I would caution anybody laying chalk on Jocelyn Edwards. So, Weezy, what do you like for this first fight of the night?
Yeah, I'm not touching this one. Just definitely staying away. I just want to point out that this fight was supposed to be at 135, and I think the Pasqual camp a couple of weeks before alerted the UFC that there was no chance that she was making 135. So Jocelyn agreed to take the fight at 145. So if you're on the Pasqual side, that's leaning your way, because this was supposed to be at 135, and I would have really favored Jocelyn down there. But even up here, I just don't think Pasqual is that great anywhere, to be honest with you. And the ladies who have taken her down and controlled her are much better wrestlers, in my opinion, than Ramona is. So even though I'm not touching this fight, if I were to touch it, I think my favorite bet would be Edwards by decision at plus 150. But like I say, it's with very little confidence that I give that bet. So just staying away.
Absolutely. Like I was saying, it's hard to be confident in fights like this. So I think the best move is just to pass. But if I was forced to, it would be the dog shot there. But you're getting plus money on the Edwards by decision. I think that's a much better way than laying the minus 167, minus 170 Weezy. I do have some donos in the chat. Let's shout you guys out here. We have 4 of them. We got Brandon in the chat saying, showing some love in Singapore. Nice. And I'm about to go to my first event, going to hit the early prelims. That's awesome. I'm jealous. You get to see Liang live in person. That is going to be an awesome fight. Thank you for the dono, Brandon. We got Gus with the super sticker, $2.99. Thank you, Gus, for hanging out. And thank you for the dono. We got Brandon, who is always supporting each and every time. Here we're saying, let's go, guys. Let's stack these tickets and boycott Sal D'Amato. We're right there with you. The MMA community is right there with you. We got Philip as well with the $5 dono. What is up, Philip? How you doing? Best of luck today. So, first fight of the night should be interesting. I thought one of you guys were saying something, but it was Bootsy. What is up, Bootsy? We have the next fight of the night. We have the people's main event. If it's not the people's main event, it is my main event. We have Liang going against Silvana Gomez Juarez, and I've never seen anything like this, guys. This is a pay-per-view card. FanDuel Sportsbook, all the sports books. What are you guys doing? FanDuel Sportsbook only has out the over under 1.5. Bet Online doesn't have out all the props. 5 Dimes doesn't have out all the props. Even DraftKings, I don't think, has out all the props. I'm not sure what's going on here, but yeah, we're kind of limited here in terms of the props for this fight, which is very weird. But Weezy, I'll let you kick off this fight here.
Yeah, this is a violent spot that I've been waiting for lines to drop since a month ago. I got in on the under 2.5 at minus 170 for 3.4 units. So I do already have a big violence bet on this fight. In addition to that, on the MMA Engine YouTube channel, Brady and I are doing a show called Probability, where we give you a data-driven look at all the time props on the card. And the first leg of the PP, or the probability parlay, is the fight doesn't go to decision for Liang Juarez at minus 280 on DraftKings. I'll give you the other 2 legs as those fights come. It's a 3-leg parlay at plus 135 that we got it on Thursday. So, this is a violent spot. It should be Liang by submission or Juarez by knockout. And like I said earlier, I really like this fight finishing inside the distance because the stylistic matchup is perfect here. Liang is not much for striking, so if it stays on the feet, Juarez is going to be very dangerous. And if it goes to the ground, we've seen Juarez submitted in both of her UFC fights in the first round by armbar. And I believe now Liang has 10 wins by submission, and most of them are by armbar. So, and in addition to that, because Silvana is so good on the feet, I think that Na is going to have to sell out for the takedown and really go with a grappling heavy game plan early. And that just adds to the fact that she's going to gas early, and this fight should finish one way or another inside the distance.
Yeah, Weezy, I'm right there with you. We would talk about this fight as soon as it was announced. We were like, we are going to smash the props as soon as they get them out. And it's fight day. The fight starts in 50 minutes. That fight starts in like an hour and 20 minutes, and still no props out, which is weird. But yeah, people are saying in the chat, Bovada has props out for this fight. They absolutely do. And I think DraftKings has a lot of props as well. But for me, I'm going to go with the fight won't start round 3. Last time I checked, it was minus 150 on both Bovada and DraftKings. Liang Na, 27 fights combined between pro and amateur, 24 pro. She's been to the 3rd round literally 1 time in her entire career. And if you go watch any tape of Liang Na, you can absolutely see why. She is the definition of kill or be killed. Either she goes out there and arm bars Silvana Gomez Juarez in the first round, or she does not get the arm bar. She gasses out bad, and then Juarez finishes her late first, second round. So this is a fight where, honestly, the line flipped here. Liang Na is now minus 117, and Silvana Gomez Juarez is now minus 103. I would kind of caution people, like, this is another low-level fight. This is absolutely low level. But what I am confident in is there is going to more than likely be a finish here. I know it's crazy saying, you're confident in a 115-pound fight to finish, but it's just Liang Na. I mean, she either goes out there and gets the finish, or she gets finished herself. So, I like Liang Na. I know a lot of people are touching those first-round props, which they're not priced overly good. I think it's like plus 200 on Bet Online for the first round. But yeah, I think it's Liang Na round 1 or Silvana Gomez Juarez late round 1 or round 2. But yeah, fight won't start round 3 is my best bet. Minus 150. I like that line quite a bit. Erik, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I mostly echo what you guys have said already. The under 2.5, last I looked, it was at like minus 225. I don't love the price on it anymore, but you could probably use that as a parlay piece. I did bet Na Liang. I think I got her at like plus 130. And then I also hedged with a little bit on Silvana Gomez Juarez to win by KO. I did like that round 1 Na Liang by sub. I'm pretty sure Lou bet is on that one. I think it was at like plus 400 at one point, but yeah, it's not as juicy anymore. But yeah, this is definitely one of those where you can look at kind of goofing around with different props and maybe sort of guarantee yourself a little something. But yeah, I bet Na Liang's money line, and then a little bit of a sprinkle on Silvana Gomez Juarez by KO in case it goes long and Na Liang tires out.
Yep, I cannot wait for this fight. It's approaching fast, and it's my most anticipated fight on the card, which call me crazy, but this fight's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I do want to shout out some people in the chat. We got Zai with the $10 dono. What is up, Zai? Thank you for always hanging out and participating in the chat. We got Jack Attack, the king of Bet MMA tips, saying, Na Liang, more like, yeah, Liang. Best of luck tonight, fellas. Best of luck to you, Jack. Hopefully, Liang Na goes out there and gets that first round of submission for the MMA community. But we'll move on to the next fight. And like I said, I had to go on a scavenger hunt for these lines here. And we have Dana Bakary going against Kung Ho Kong. And yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here as well. We have no props, at least on best fight odds. I saw that DraftKings does have some props out. FanDuel, last time I checked, they had 0 props out. I don't even think they had like the over-unders out, which it's really weird. Again, this is a pay-per-view card, but yeah, no props out for this fight as far as I'm concerned. But we'll start with you, Weezy. What do you like for this fight here?
Just completely odd. How do you not have props out for Na Liang versus Silvana Gomez Juarez and Kyung Ho Kong versus Dana Bakary? FanDuel Sportsbook, shame on you. Can we just get a shame real quick here? Shame. That's bullshit. It's a pay-per-view card. These props have been out, for a few days on a lot of books. I mean, the fact that they're just completely avoiding action on this fight and the Na Liang fight is ridiculous. So shame on FanDuel Sportsbook. I don't have a bet on this fight, but there's been a lot of money coming in on the Kyung Ho Kong side here. And I was already leaning Bakary, but I was kind of going back and forth. But Bakary minus 150 up until about 3 days ago, and now he's minus 109. Before the show, I saw that he was minus 110 on Bet Online, and you could probably even get him better than that now, somewhere minus 108 and minus 105 for Dana Bakary right now on Bet Online. I think that he's got bricks for hands. I think that Kyung Ho Kong is a good wrestler and will be able to get this fight to the ground at times, but if he's not successful keeping it there, I think he's going to get knocked out. So I do like that Dana Bakary money line here at about almost a pick 'em. There's been a lot of money coming in on Kong, and I think it's a little too much.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I wasn't expecting the line to flip like this. Honestly, I've really seen nobody talking about this fight at all. I've seen really no talk about the Na out there. I've seen no talk about Kung Ho Kong. But yeah, money's been pouring in on Kung Ho Kong throughout the week. For me, this is such a tough one because I think Kong has all the tools to win this fight, the takedowns. But like you said, the Na hits like an absolute truck, and although Kung Ho Kong's not been knocked out in like 14 years, it very well could happen here. So that scares me. But I'm actually going to go with the over in this fight. I think the over 2.5 is kind of sneaky. Minus 135 on DraftKings. Just got to avoid that big Dana shot. If you like Dana, I think Dana KO could be something to look at. I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but looks like it's plus 190. Give me the over 2.5. I'm going to hold my breath. Not betting this fight, but I'll take that over there. Erik, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, this was a fight where I came away from the tape not really feeling like I had a confident pick either way. I didn't feel like I had a great read. And if you look at the odds on the fight, it looks like a lot of people must be feeling that way. And I had to come up with a bet here. I was looking at this right before the show, and Bet Online does have some props out, and I saw Kyung-Ho Kang by sub at plus 475. I guess if I was going to take a shot on something, that might be what I do. Like I do think that, Bat Gari's always live to find that early KO, but if that doesn't happen, maybe we see Kang, being able to get his wrestling and grappling game going. And I thought that might be worth a shot if I was going to do anything with it.
So you got the I don't hate a shot on that. I mean, this is a tough fight to call. So I'm going to sit back and watch this one, see what happens. But interesting line movement on this one. But we'll keep moving on here. We have, I believe, Brendan Allen going against Jacob Malkoun. We have Brendan Allen minus 305 and Jacob Malkoun plus 255. I will start with you, Erik. What do you like on this fight here?
I do have a bet on Brendan Allen's money line. I took it way early. I think I got him at like minus 210, but what's he sitting at now? Yeah, he's up like minus 275, even up like minus 300. Yeah, I don't love that so much anymore. I already shouted him out once. I'm going to shout out Lou Becci again for I think he was the first one to point this out, or at least the first person I saw pointed out anyway. But that Jacob Malkoun by decision, I don't know what it's sitting at now, but it was sitting at like plus 800 at one point. I had to take it on Bet Online, so I got a little bit worse number at plus 600. I do like Brendan Allen to win this fight, but it's one of those spots where, with the way Malkoun fights, like I almost feel like his decision prop is his money line plus a little more maybe. So it feels like a number that's a little bit off to me. So even though I do like Allen to win, I think if Malkoun does win, that's probably how it happens. And if you can get that at like, up around plus 700, plus 800, that does seem worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, so that Malkoun decision line was actually up, close to plus I think Dan Goldstein in the chat said he got like plus 1,000 on that Malkoun decision line, but it's been pounded. Looks like it's plus 400 on Bet Online. You still got plus 600 on FanDuel, and then looks like plus 700 still on Unibet, Caesars, and then also Bet Rivers there. So yeah, I think if you do like the Malkoun side, I would go at that decision prop. I did sprinkle a little bit myself, but I do like the Allen. I don't like the money line, but I like the Allen inside the distance. I think if Allen wins this fight, it will be inside the distance. I think it's better to lay the minus 110. I see plus 105 on him inside the distance rather than laying that minus 300 here. I think Malkoun's in trouble. Like on the feet, it's going to be Brendan Allen. I think he can really hurt Malkoun and knock him out. And then on the mat, like that is Brendan Allen's bread and butter. I think people forgot about how good Brendan Allen is on the mat. Like that's his game. That's where he started. BJJ. He's really good there. And Jacob Malkoun, if he takes him down, I feel like Allen is going to have opportunities to submit him off his back. I feel like he can reverse and sweep and get on top. And if he does get on top of Malkoun, I think it's going to be over shortly after. So I like Brendan Allen inside the distance. Again, if you like Malkoun, the decision prop, it makes absolutely no sense. So I think there's a couple different ways to play it, but I do think Allen wins here. Weezy, I have a feeling that this potentially might be your ass shaving of the week. So go ahead and talk about this fight here.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I had a hard time finding one this week because there weren't a lot of money lines that I liked on any fighter. I think that this is one of those rare cards where every single underdog, you can find a path to victory for them. And it's a legit path to victory. So, and there is a legit path to victory here for Jacob Malkoun, and that's wrestling and getting top control and winning a decision. But the problem is that I think what's hurt Brendan Allen in the past is the fact that he's not really a wrestler, that he needs to get the fight to the ground, but he's not willing to do the work to do that. So he'll stay standing up with guys that are good strikers for way too long. And that's why he's gotten that bad fight IQ rap. And I think it's deservedly so. But this is a situation where he's going to already be better on the feet. So I think when Malkoun has to take this fight to the ground because he won't be better than Brendan on the feet, I think he's going to be in Brendan's world. That's where we're going to see Brendan do his best work. So I hate this matchup for Jacob. I'm trusting my read here. I saw Thomas Howard say in the chat earlier that he had Brendan Allen's money line parlayed with Jiri and Glover under 3.5. I actually have that exact parlay. I got them both at minus 280, and it comes out to something like oh, Christ. Where do I have it here? It came out to minus 119. But that was earlier in the week. I don't know if Brendan Allen is still available at minus 280 on DraftKings, but I put 2.4 units on that parlay to win 2. And yeah, like Brendan Allen, I think he probably wins this inside the distance and shaves Malkoun's ass and chest in there. And then we're going to need somebody with a broom to sweep that shit up before the next fight.
Dude, if he shaves his ass and shit, like there's gonna be a ton of hair on the octagon, so that is going to be a hazard going forward. So they better have a broom ready for that. But yeah, looking forward to that fight for sure. We have 435 of you in here. If you all can please hit the like button. Also, I linked down Weezy, Erik's channel down below. Go check them out. Go subscribe to them, and then also go subscribe to the MMA Engine YouTube channel. We are currently 9 subscribers away from 1,000, almost there. So help us out. Go subscribe to the MMA Engine and Weezy and Erik, and subscribe here as well. So we will move on to the next fight. We have a weird one. We have Mahashate going against Steve Garcia. We will start with you, Erik. What are you liking here for this fight?
I went back and watched in my tape study. I went back and watched Mahashate's, I think it was his pro debut. I forget the name of the guy he fought, but it was a Russian wrestler, because I wanted to see how Mahashate looks off his back, how he defends takedowns, that kind of thing. And he did get taken down a ton in that fight. He was able to use his guard pretty well. He was able to scramble pretty well. He was able to get up off of his back quite a bit in that fight. But then I found myself wondering, like, how much of that is that he's actually good at getting up off of his back, and how much of it was that the guy he was fighting was like 1-1 and just wasn't really that good. So, I came to the conclusion, like, I think I do like Steve Garcia here to be able to get the takedowns, and yes, pretty decent top control. But as far as a bet, I think last I looked, Steve Garcia was at like minus 180 or something like that. I don't like that number. Like, if I was going to bet it, I would probably look to bet Mahashate's money line at like plus 170 or thereabouts, or maybe I didn't even look if there was a Mahashate by KO prop or something like that. But yeah, I guess I lean Garcia to win, but I don't like a bet on him. If I was going to take a shot, I'd probably take a shot on the dog here.
Yeah, this is a weird one for me. I think Garcia should win this fight. Yeah, I saw that same fight you did. Mahashate was taken down like a million times, controlled for the whole fight. I feel like Steve Garcia should go out here and go for takedowns. I just have a feeling he's going to stand and bang with Mahashate, and I still like Garcia's striking, but that's going to give Mahashate a path to victory. There's nothing I really like here. I do lean towards, there being a finish in this fight, but I don't like the minus 200. I most definitely don't like the minus 240. But shout out to Brandon. He did shout this out in the probability show the other night. The fight ends in KO. It was minus 120. It's now minus 135 on DraftKings. I think I would lean there, but yeah, I don't have a bet on this fight. This one's weird. I had more confidence in Steve Garcia earlier in the week, but after seeing the weigh-ins, I did not like how Garcia looked. He looked kind of off. He didn't look great. And then Mahashate looked very good. He looked much bigger as well. And there's a lot of question marks. I don't know a ton about Mahashate. Really, nobody knows a ton about Mahashate because there's only 2 fights available. And I don't know, he's young. We could see improvements. This is a really weird fight for me, but I'm staying away from. But I do think it's one of the more exciting fights and one of the more intriguing fights on the card. So if anything, I would take a look at that fight ends in KO minus 135. But again, I don't love it and not something I'm running to the window for. Weezy, I know you have a bet on this fight. What do you got here?
Yeah, I got a small bet. I made it last night when I saw the fight goes to decision sitting at plus 188 on FanDuel. I hit it for a half unit. It's not that I don't think that this fight will finish inside the distance. It's just that at plus 188, that is an implied probability of 34.72%. I think this fight probably sees the scorecards 5 out of 10 times, to be honest with you. Garcia is a good striker, but these guys are only finishing as pros at a 66.7% rate. But in their pro careers, there's 5 losses. Only one of them has been inside the distance here. So that's something that keeps me away from fight doesn't go to decision bets when we have 2 durable fighters, which we have here. Add to that fact now that you're paying almost minus 200 or even more for the fight doesn't go to decision here, and you have 2 durable fighters who really are only finishing on the regional scene at a slightly above average rate. I think this line has just went way too far, and the analytics are telling me that long term, I make this bet 100 times, I probably cash it 40, and that would be enough for a 7% return on investment at this particular plus 188 line. But I think right now the best we can get it at is plus 178 on FanDuel. Still, it's a good plus money number, and I think the analytics say that there's some value there, and it's a plus EV bet.
Yeah, I would just caution anybody on laying minus 240 on the fight doesn't go, because like you said, both guys have shown a ton of toughness. Mahashate showed a ton of toughness in the Contender Series, got hurt in the first round there, bounced back in that second and third. Garcia showed a lot of toughness against Charlie Ontiveros, got dropped 3 times, bounced back, and got that win there. So yeah, I think it finishes, but I'm not laying -240. So Weezy, I do like that take there at plus money. Let us keep moving on. We have one more fight before we get to the main card. We have Josh Culibao going against Seungwoo Choi. And I'll kick this one off. So there's nothing I really like in this fight. I do like Seungwoo Choi to win. I'm not in love with the price tag. I think it's a pretty tough matchup for Josh Culibao here. Josh Culibao, he's 0 for 11 thus far on takedowns. And what has Seungwoo Choi really struggled with throughout his UFC career? The ground game. You know, Mosver Evlov took him down several times. Gavin Tucker took him down several times. Caceres subbed him in his last fight as well. Seungwoo Choi is probably going to get the fight he wants, and that's going to be a fight that's probably on the feet for 15 minutes. And at that point, I do have to favor Seungwoo Choi. Do I love the line? Not really, but and there's not really a prop I like, because I could see this going to decision. I think Seungwoo Choi can outpoint Culibao over 3 rounds, and I wouldn't be shocked if he finished Culibao. I know Culibao is very tough, but he was knocked out in his only loss against Jalen Turner. Was up a weight class short notice, but Seungwoo Choi hits like an absolute truck. So instead of picking a prop here, I'm just going to go with the Seungwoo Choi money line -235 as a parlay piece. Nothing really sticking out in terms of a prop for me on this one. Kind of a tricky one. Weezy, what do you like in this fight here?
I'm not touching this one with a 10-foot pole. I was looking for bets and looking for bets and just coming up snake eyes. The best that I could come up with. I really do think Choi probably wins this fight, wins it fairly easily. I don't like Culibao's skill set in order to find a path to victory for him here. So I think Choi wins this fight, but at -230 or something like that, it's too much. Yeah. But if we go on FanDuel, Choi by decision or KO, we can get it from like -240 or -250 down to -220. That's the best I can do for you guys. I hate this fight from a betting standpoint, and I'm staying away from it.
Yeah, I mean, Choi's not going to sub Josh Culibao. I would be shocked. Erik, what do you like over this fight here?
This is one of those fights where I came away from the tape, like I do the method where I watch the tape not knowing the odds, and then I set the odds in my head and compare them to the real odds kind of thing. And I came away from the tape like expecting to see Choi as the favorite, but I was thinking he was going to be like, I don't know, maybe in the range of like -170, something like that. And so I did just take what I feel is a value shot here. I put 1 unit on Culibao at +200. Like I said, I don't favor him outright to win, but I like his leg kicks. I think he's a decent striker. I've heard a lot of people kind of talking crap on his skill set, and he's not amazing, but I think that I'm a little bit higher on him than most people are. So hopefully he'll go out there and prove me right. But yeah, I did take a little bit on him at +200, hoping he can come through with a decision for me there.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Culibao is a very, very good fighter. So yeah, don't hate the shot there. I'm not running to the window late -250, -230 on Seungwoo Choi. Let us move on to the main card opener. We have a very interesting fighter. We have Jack Della Maddalena going against Ramazan Emeev. I remember 2 weeks ago, I saw Jack Della Maddalena at plus money. Probably should have looked into it a little bit more, but kind of, pushed it back a little bit. When by the time I researched the fight, he was like -125, and now he's all the way to like -173. So lots of money has been coming in on Jack Della Maddalena. Erik, we'll start with you. What are you liking for this fight here?
I did put a money line bet on Jack Della Maddalena when he was at like -125. Obviously there are concerns about Emeev's wrestling here, but I think Jack scrambles pretty well. He gets up off his back pretty well, and I might be a little bit of a simp for Jack Della Maddalena striking. I really, really like the guy's boxing a lot. I really, really like watching him on the feet. I think he's a lot of fun to watch. I think he's dangerous, not in a one punch KO kind of way, but in a death by 1,000 cuts kind of way. So I did put a little bit on him here. What's he at now money line wise? He's more at like -160, something like that, isn't he?
-170. -165 is the best line.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know if I would still bet that money line or not. Another thing I did do, I'll give this as my best bet, I guess. I did sprinkle a little bit on him, Jack Della Maddalena by KO in round 3, which I think I got at plus 1,200, but that was on Bet Online, so it's probably even better line on some of the other books. But yeah, I think that's a decent shot. I do kind of expect it to go to decision, but if Jack Della Maddalena is able to start landing, and maybe he finds a situation where he's got Emeev's back on the fence and he's able to just kind of pour it on until the ref steps in for a standing TKO, something like that, we could maybe see a late finish.
Maddalena KO round 3 plus 1,600 on FanDuel. And yeah, I'm going to go with the Jack Della Maddalena by KO at plus 300. I really don't even think the striking is that close. I love the striking of Jack Della Maddalena. The concerns I have, especially from like a money line standpoint, is I have not seen enough of Jack's takedown defense. There's not a lot of footage available on it. On the Contender Series, he did stuff 3 out of 4 takedowns. I watched some fights outside the UFC. He stuffs some takedowns here or there. He gets taken down. He gets back up. That's all well and good, but this is going to be the best wrestler he's fought by a mile. So this is going to answer a lot of questions I have about Jack Della Maddalena. So it's a fight I'm just comfortable with just sitting back and watching it. But if I was to play something, it would most definitely not be the money line here at minus 170. But I wouldn't mind the KO prop at plus 300. I think Ramazan Emeev on the feet is going to get tagged up bad. Jack has finished all but one of his wins, and the one win that he had that did go to decision against Angalusa, he would have finished the majority of fighters in that fight. He hit Angalusa with some really hard shots, and Lusa is very tough. I'm not sure Emeev will be able to take those same shots. So if anything, it's going to be that Jack Della Maddalena KO plus 300. I think he has a good chance to finish Ramazan Emeev. If this is on the feet, of course, Emeev could take him down, blanket him, but on the feet, Emeev's going to be in some serious trouble here. So don't mind a shot in that KO, and it's plus 300. Weezy, what do you like for this fight?
Yeah, I feel the same way as you, Brady. I went with inside the distance for Maddalena at plus 250 just to include the submission because there wasn't much difference between 250 and 300. Maddalena has finished 10 of his 11 wins inside the distance. Ramazan Emeev is starting to slowly but surely get exposed as a little bit of a fraud here. The wins aren't great. The losses are really not great either, especially the Danny Roberts losses. We saw him go out there after the Emeev fight and not look great and lose his next one. So it looks like Emeev's one of these Russian guys who's won some close fights here at the UFC level, but somebody that's got a little bit of power in their strikes, a little bit of flash like Jack Della Maddalena does, and some really crisp, sharp striking. I think he's going to give Ramazan a lot of problems. And when you look at the numbers for Ramazan, he's not as dominant of a wrestler and control time guy as you would think that he is. He shoots for a lot of takedowns, but dudes are getting back up. He couldn't even hold Stolze down. And Stolze got submitted and was absolutely blanketed by Benoit Saint-Denis, a guy with 9 professional fights. So I think that Emeev isn't as good as we think he is. And then we're going to see Jack Della take that next step here and knock this dude out before the bell. So I'm looking for Della Maddalena inside the distance.
Sounds good. Right there with you. So it looks like we are all 3 on the Jack Della Maddalena, and a ton of people agree with us as the money line is being hit as we speak. All right, next we're going to go to probably the most highly debated fight of the night. We have Andre Fialho going against Jake Matthews. Money's been pouring in on Matthews throughout the week. We know I have Fialho around minus 124, minus 125. Jake Matthews around plus 100, plus 105. We'll start with you, Erik. What do you like for this fight here?
The first thing that I want to say is I think this is one of those fights that's potentially a great live betting spot. A lot of people are on Fialho to find that round 1 KO. He's something he's known to do. He's done it in his last 2 fights in a row. But I think, if we see the fight go past the first round, I think a live bet on Jake Matthews could end up being a good idea, depending upon how things are looking. I did bet Jake Matthews at like plus 130, but as you mentioned, I think his line moved a bunch more today too. He's more like at even money, something like that. But I don't think Fialho finding that early KO is completely out of the question. But I kind of lean toward thinking Jake Matthews is going to survive that, and that, he might be able to have some success with his wrestling. And honestly, in Jake Matthews' last fight, he's been a little bit of a bust as far as he's been in the UFC for quite a while now. He hasn't really lived up to expectations, but I thought, there might have been some evidence in his last fight that he's turning a corner a little bit. He's like 27, 28 years old. So, he might be kind of that guy who didn't live up to expectations for a while and is now going to start kind of like moving into his prime and turning that corner a little bit. So I'm kind of just believing in something without a whole lot of evidence here, but I think we might see Jake Matthews 2.0 and see some improvements from him here. So I do like Jake Matthews to come through, probably by decision.
Yeah, I agree. This is a tough one. A lot of people have a very confident take on either side, and I think Matthews is the side here, still at plus money. But like you said, Fialho is more than capable of knocking this guy out. Fialho hits like an absolute truck, and that first round for Fialho is very live. I just worry about what happens when Fialho gets to that second round. I don't think his cardio is as bad as people think. But, in the second round, he still carries that power. It's just the third round. He doesn't really have a ton left. I think if Matthews does survive that first, I'm with you, Erik. I think I'm going to attack this from a live betting standpoint. I'm going to see what the line is after the first round because, I think Fialho is very, very, very live for that first round knockout. But I don't really understand the line here. I think Fialho could knock him out in the first round, but what happens if he doesn't? I think Matthews takes over as the fight goes on. And I think Matthews can actually win minutes on the feet early on as well. Like Van Camp was winning minutes at times. Van Camp hurt Fialho. We saw Baeza hurt Fialho as well. I think Matthews is a side, but the line's been bet all the way down to plus 102, plus 108. If I was forced to make a bet, it would be Matthews here, still at plus money, but I'm going to wait for that live betting situation. I'm going to wait for after the first round. I'll see what the line is. And if it's a decent plus money, I'm definitely going to jump in on Jake Matthews there. Weezy, how do you feel about this fight? Kind of a tough one to break down here.
Dude, not touching it, man. Not touching it at all. I looked at some lines. I would bet Fialho if I had to bet it, the money line. I see the point of betting Jake Matthews at plus 130, but at plus 105, not so much. I just think Fialho's power and pressure is difficult for anybody to deal with for the first few minutes of a fight. And I've seen the conditioning maybe take that next step. And let's remember that Fialho is very young as well here. Both him and Matthews, I believe, are the same age. And, even though Matthews has had higher level experience for a much higher percentage of his career, even Fialho was fighting some high level opponents on the regional scene before he got to the UFC. So I think it's a very close fight. And I would probably lean with that fight changing power of Andre Fialho if I had to pick a side. And now that a bunch of money has come in on Matthews, I think the money line is bettable at minus 124 for Fialho here, but I don't have any action on this one.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of people are on the Matthews side. A lot of people are on the Fialho fight. It's one of those fights where people are very confident either way. I'm not really confident either way, but it should be a fun fight. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Let us get to the next fight. We have Joanna and Jacek going against Zhang Weili. I'll kick this one off. This is a fight where I like the fight goes to decision. It's minus 260, minus 280, minus 235 as a parlay piece. I like that. But I like a little bit more and kind of sneaky here, although a lot of people are on it. I think the fight ends in a split or majority decision on DraftKings Sportsbook at plus 350 is worth a look. It's a very close fight. A lot of people are on Joanna, rightfully so. The first fight was very, very close. I do personally lean ever so slightly with the power of Zhang Weili, but this fight is favored to go to decision. It is the most likely fight to go to decision based on the odds of the entire card. I think it's close. I think split decision is very, very live at plus 350. So I did sprinkle that earlier in the week. I do not hate a shot on that split decision. I think it's close, and this fight could really go either way. So I like that split here. Erik, what do you like for this fight?
I like that split prop as well. I don't have access to that, but I think that's a good one. I think there's a decent chance that we see this go to split decision. I did put a little bit on the over 2.5 here. I can't remember what line I got on that off the top of my head, but money line wise, I think I mostly agree with where the money line is at. So I'm not super interested in that. I guess if I was gonna bet a money line, maybe I'd bet Joanna just because, it is a fight that's likely to play out in a split decision kind of way. So if I had to pick one, I'd probably just take the plus money. But I like that over 2.5. I don't know what that line has gotten to now. It's probably more of parlay piece kind of section now. But I think, and that you could bet the fight goes to decision. This is one spot where I like the over 2.5. A little better just to give yourself that out in case something does go a little goofy in the last couple minutes. But that's what I'm looking at.
It looks like the best line out there on the over 2.5 is minus 310. The best line out there on the fight goes to decision is minus 235. Both of those are on FanDuel. Weezy, anything sticking out in this fight here?
Yeah, so the second leg of the PP or the probability parlay, which started with the fight doesn't go to decision for now Liang's fight. The second leg is the fight goes to decision for young Jacek versus Zhang. We've seen these ladies battle it out for 5 rounds before. The only one to finish either one of these ladies in the UFC or as a pro is Rose Namajunas, and she's not involved in this fight, so I see it going the full 3, being a striking war, and I even see Weili mixing in some wrestling to try to win some minutes on the ground, but I don't see this one finishing inside the distance, so I'm really confident with that minus 235. A good parlay piece for the fight goes to decision on FanDuel is available, and the third leg of the parlay is the fight doesn't go for the main event. So we'll just take the surprise out of it right there.
Sounds good. I like it. I like it. All right, now it's time to move on to the co-main event. We have Valentina Shevchenko going against Tayla Santos. Weezy, we'll stick with you on this one. What is sticking out on this fight here?
I mean, this one was a tough one for me to call because, like, I usually just completely stay away from fights where you got a favorite, is sitting around -600, -700. It means that there's not much value in the lines. And right now, it looks like the decision prop and the inside the distance prop are about the same right now on Valentina Shevchenko, but I tend to think that she's going to finish this fight. We did see Mara Romero Borello have success taking down Tayla and controlling her on the ground. So if Mara could do that, we know that Valentina can, because I'm going to go out there and just put it out there right now and let the haters be damned. I think that Valentina Shevchenko is a better fighter than Mara Romero Borello. You heard me hear it right here. I said it. And you got any problems, don't at me. But it's Valentina Shevchenko. This is just such a huge step up. So I really think that Valentina is going to get the job done, do what she's been doing to these opponents at 125. She reigns supreme in this division. It's Valentina, and everybody else is like 6 notches on the ladder below her. I think she'll probably make it look pretty easy, get her out of there, ground and pound, 3rd or 4th round. But Shevchenko inside the distance at +120 on DraftKings is my favorite bet for this fight.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Obviously, you can't lay -650, -800 on Shevchenko. I don't care if it's Shevchenko, anybody like that. I'm not laying -600, especially on a women's MMA fight. But instead of laying that -600, I think the inside the distance is the way to go. Tayla Santos has never been finished, but she's never fought anybody near the caliber of fighter as a Shevchenko. Fights over Joanne Wood, Roxanne Modafferi, Jillian Robertson, fighters like that, Barella as well. I think it's going to be such a massive step up, and I think it's going to be kind of a levels fight where we're going to see, like, there's a big difference between a Joanne Wood, a Roxanne Modafferi, and a big difference between them and a Shevchenko here. I think we're going to see that. And yeah, I think Shevchenko does win this fight and win it inside the distance. Santos, as far as I'm concerned, has never seen the 4th round, never seen the 5th round. What is she going to look like if this fight gets extended? I don't trust her cardio. So I'm kind of leaning a Shevchenko later finish. I know people are sprinkling those 3, 4, and 5 round props. I don't hate that. But yeah, I think instead of laying -600 on Shevchenko, which you should not lay that really on anybody in MMA, plus money inside the distance, I don't hate that at all. Erik, what do you like for this fight?
I came at this fight from a whole bunch of different angles, like I was playing bingo and trying to cover all the squares or something. So we'll see how it turns out. But I have a little bit of a hot take here. I'm certainly not saying that I choose Santos to win outright. And I'm totally prepared to be wrong about this. I've been wrong plenty of times before, and we'll be wrong plenty of times again. And maybe this is one of them. But I feel like, at least in the early going, this fight might play out more closely than people are expecting. I feel like Santos might have the skills and the physicality to hang in there with Valentina at least early. I do think that, if we make it to rounds 4 and 5, that's going to start to flip quite a bit. I mean, obviously Valentina's got that 25-minute experience, and we've seen Santos start to slow down a little bit even in 3-round fights. But the way I came at this, I did put some on Santos's money line. I did put a little bit on Santos inside the distance, which I think I got at like +1250. And then I also sprinkled on those late round props for Valentina. I sprinkled on round 3, round 4, and round 5. So I've got all kinds of fun stuff going on in this fight. It should be a good time.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think the fight very well could be competitive early. Santos, I've been very, very high on her. I've had massive bets on her last couple fights. And I think early on, yeah, it definitely could be. I'm just kind of concerned for Santos when it does get to that 3rd round, that 4th round, that 5th round. What is she going to look like? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, should be a fun fight for sure. Now we have the main event, though. We have Jiri Prochazka going against Glover Teixeira. Before we get into it, guys, we have 560 of you in here. If y'all can please hit the like button. Let's get those likes up and subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to Weezy, Erik down below. And I just checked the MMA Engine, and we are at 996 subscribers. We are literally 4 away from 1,000. The goal is to get that 1,000. We have 16 minutes to do it. If you have not subscribed to the MMA Engine, the link is down below. Go help us out. Let's get to 1K. We will start with you, Erik. What are you liking for the main event here?
I was kind of joking, but kind of not joking earlier in the week about when this fight not to go the distance was at like -500. I was like, man, I should just put like half my bankroll on that or something, like, and now it's at like minus 800 or something like that now. So, I mean, people got wise to it pretty quick, but yeah, I feel like, and Bet Online has, they had initially set it at over under 1.5, I think. And then they released the alternates. You can get over under 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. So if you have access to Bet Online, I think you can just kind of look at those props, pick your spot. How far do you think it's going to go? Is it going to make it to 3? Is it going to make it to... I did put some on, I can't remember. I attacked it a couple different ways. I think I put some on fight not to start round 4, and I think I might have put some on under 3.5 too. I don't remember, but and then I did also sprinkle a little bit on Glover Teixeira KO TKO at plus 800. I think I've seen a lot of people on Glover's submission prop, but I thought, that plus 800 just seems mispriced to me. Like, I think, if the fight does get to the ground and if Glover is able to have his moments, I think there's a decent shot that he ends up finding a ground and pound situation, rather than a sub. But yeah, I know a lot of people are on Jiri here and are parlaying him, and I can understand that. And maybe it's just the old man bias, I guess. But man, I want Glover to come through enough here that I can't bet. That rarely happens to me. I don't get emotionally involved in fights enough to create biases too much, but it's happening for me here, and I'll admit it. But yeah, but the best bets wise, I think, pick your spot as far as the under, how far you think it's going to go.
Yeah, I agree. I have the under 2.5 as my best bet here. I think last time I checked on DraftKings, it was minus 175. I'm not sure that's still there, but yeah, -2. Anything better than minus 200, I really like. It's just, both these guys are finishers. Jiri's been over that 2.5 round mark twice in 31 fights. And just stylistically, how this fight's going to play out. Like, on the feet, Jiri's going to have a great opportunity to knock out Glover. And if Glover gets down Jiri, he's going to have a great opportunity to either, submit him or TKO him as well. So yeah, I don't see this fight getting overly extended. I think violence is the best angle here. I would not lay minus 200, minus 210 on Jiri. I just don't see how anybody could be confident in this fight. Like, what happens if Glover Teixeira gets on top of Jiri? Like, if you have a minus 210, 220 ticket on Jiri, you're going to be sweating bullets, and he probably gets finished shortly after. But at the same time, Jiri is absolutely live to go out there and knock out Glover Teixeira and probably do it in the very first round as well. So instead of picking a side, which I think this fight is a very tough one to call, I'm just going to take the under. I'm going to root for violence. I think somebody gets finished here. I think somebody gets finished under 2.5 rounds. Weezy, what do you like for this main event?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can be confident about violence here. I was joking around, like, I don't even know what a decision in this fight looks like, other than maybe them bringing a card table into the cage and they play bridge for 25 minutes straight. And even then, I could see there being a disagreement about the bridge game where somebody gets knocked out, in the 4th round. So the violence bets are where you have to go here. I think you can parlay the fight doesn't go to decision. I think you can parlay the under 3.5. Even on DraftKings right now, fight won't start round 3 at minus 150. Feels like a really good look. I mean, it's one or the other. Either this goes to the ground and Jiri's going to be in a whole heap of trouble, or it stays standing and Glover is going to be in a whole heap of trouble. And the funny thing is even when you land a big shot on Glover, if you don't get him out of there 10 seconds later, oftentimes you wind up underneath him 30 seconds after that, and then the fight finishes. So it's just one way or another. You got to believe that violence is the safest bet of the week, whether it's in the Liang fight or in the main event. Just bet violence, parlay it with with a couple other spots, and enjoy that ticket cashing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I'd be shocked if this fight went to decision. If it did go to decision, I'm gonna have a very bad night. So yeah, definitely looking for some violence there. So yeah, guys, we did it. We went through all 11 fights. So we have about 10 minutes left. If you guys have any questions in the chat, if there's a fight that you got in late, we didn't touch on for you, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat. We'll get to them now. And then also want to say thank you, guys. We just hit 1,000 subscribers on the MMA Engine. We've been working hard. Thank you guys for subscribing and supporting. That does mean a ton. Lots of content to come. So we'll kick it around. I'm curious, Weezy, what is your favorite fight of the night?
It's got to be the main event. It just has to be. Glover against Jiri is about as exciting as it gets. Striker versus grappler. I think Jiri is one of the most exciting mixed martial artists on the entire planet right now. A very unique guy. He's a unicorn, and he's fighting an old lion who's very good at what he does, has cut out all the unnecessary garbage out of his game, and he focuses on the things that he does really well. And there are huge holes even still in in Jiri's game. So I think Glover, even at the age of 42, can exploit those. It's going to be the old lion versus the young buck. I can't wait for that fight. It's got to be the most anticipated fight. And then I also love the Liang Silvana Gomez Juarez fight. That's going to be so much fun.
I like it. Erik, what is your most anticipated fight of the night?
I'd probably have to go with Santos and Shevchenko, simply because the traditional wisdom here being that Santos is a really promising up and comer, obviously, but that she's probably getting this opportunity a little bit too early. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I think it's going to be interesting to see where she is at this point in her career as far as being able to hang with and potentially beat the best in the world. So, maybe Shevchenko is going to come out there and do Shevchenko things and blow her out of the water. But like I said, I feel like it's going to be a competitive fight, at least early. And I'm really interested to see, what Santos is going to be able to do with the best in the world at this point in her career.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to that fight, the main event. But for me, it's going to be the Liang Gomez Juarez fight. I've been talking it up all week. It better deliver. I'll look like an idiot. Better finish. But yeah, I think these fighters are going to go after it. I think someone's getting served and served probably under 1.5 rounds as well. Let's answer some questions, guys. Let's see here. Lance saying the Na Silvana doesn't go and the Jiri Glover under 2.5 should be a max bet parlay. I think they both hit. Would I max bet that parlay? Not really, but I don't hate it. Weezy, any thoughts on that parlay?
So, I've got the Na Silvana fight doesn't go parlayed with the Glover fight not going as well. I mean, the fight doesn't go for both of those fights, and I even added in for the probability parlay the Zhang Weili fight going the distance. So, but those two are definitely parlay spots, and if you can get it at minus 150-ish, minus 160, I guess that's a par. I mean, I wouldn't max bet almost any parlay, but that's about as close as I would come to max betting a parlay. Would be those two spots.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Sage saying best shots on the split decision. I think the clear one is the Joanna Zhang Weili. I think it's going to be a close fight. Erik, any other fight you can see being a split?
Let's see. Off the top of my head, I would say Culibao Choi, maybe. Emeev Maddalena, maybe. Matthews Fialho, maybe.
I think Bakary Kang could potentially be a split.
That could be. Yeah. There's a lot of close fights on the card. I think we could see a couple splits, especially with how the judging's been lately as well. Even like the Jack Della Maddalena fight could be a split. Weezy, serious question. Does Jiri's antenna increase his fight IQ?
I don't know, dude. I don't think Jiri's got the best fight IQ guy. I think he's got absolute gifts, and the gifts are an ironclad chin, a great body for the division. He's huge for 205 and just otherworldly power. So his ability, while he's not that skilled and he's defensively almost terrible, his ability to be able to take a punch, keep walking forward, and hit you harder than you hit him, I think has been his greatest attribute thus far in his career. And he really is trusting that chin. So if he can continue to rely on that chin, I think he's going to continue to be one of the most exciting fighters in the entire promotion.
Yep, sounds good. Let's see. How many eye pokes tonight? I don't know. There could be a couple. You can ask Lou. That's a question for Lou Becci. I think Lou's in the chat. You can ask him. He'll know. Weezy, which fight is the likeliest to be affected by the Singapore location? Anything stick out?
I would think that it would be the Mahashate Steve Garcia fight, because Garcia is coming from really far away for this one, and I don't know when he got to Singapore. So if he came kind of late, I think that that's going to be a bad one. And we kind of saw him not look great on the scale. So that could have potentially been part of it if he did wait to get out there. So I think that the time zone change for Garcia, maybe because he got out there late, could really, cause him to not be himself out there.
Yeah, that was one that came to mind for me. Erik, I know you talked a little bit about the Jake Matthews for the live bet on the card. Do you think that's the best one, or is there anything else you're looking at for live betting?
Oh, let me take a look here. Yeah, I mean, that's the one that stands out to me the most, I think. Maybe the Liang Silvana Gomez Juarez. We've definitely seen Liang come out hard in that first round, and if she's not able to find the finish, she'll tend to gas out. So that might be another one to look at. But yeah, I think Fialho Matthews is definitely the one that stands out to me the most there.
Sounds good. On DraftKings, GPP, Fialho on Garcia. Man, I like them both for DraftKings. I think both are alive for that finish. Fialho, I think he's live for a first-round knockout. If I had to pick one, I guess I'm a little more confident in Garcia, but I think they're both really solid plays. Weezy, your ass shaving of the week. Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. It's the Brendan Allen shaving the ass of Jacob Malkoun. I don't like the matchup for Malkoun. I think where he needs to take the fight in order to be successful is putting Brendan Allen exactly where he's the most dangerous. And also, I believe that if Malkoun neglects taking him down, he's going to be on the feet with Allen and find out that he's not the better striker either. I think Malkoun is better with the wrestling offensively and with his conditioning and no place else. And the fact that wrestling and conditioning are strong suits against somebody who would probably prefer that you take him down in order to make his chance to get a submission better, I think it's just a bad matchup for Malkoun altogether, and I'm going with Brendan Allen.
Sounds good. We will look at a couple more, then we'll head out here, guys. I predict someone will get kicked in the balls in the first round of the main event. Can I make a bet on it? Yes, you can. It's a point. I don't know if they're probably not going to deduct a point from just one, but can you make a bet on just one nut shot? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think you have to. I think you can bet on there being a point deduction, but whether or not there's a nut shot, I don't think that there's any books that offer that particular prop. If they did, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, maybe they do. I know some of the books have some really weird props out there. Let's see if there's anything else. I think we'll cut it off here, guys. So thank you for hanging out. We had a lot of people in the chat all night here, all day. We have about 4 minutes till these fights start, till we kick it off with Romana, Pasqual, Jocelyn Edwards. So we'll kick it around. We'll start with you, Erik. Erik, let the people know where they can find you and what you have going on typically throughout a week.
Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody in the chat and playing along. You can find me at Erik Bets Fights on Twitter. Also, Erik Bets Fights on YouTube. I think Brady did put that down in the description down there. I also release some of my content on the Never Hedge Media YouTube channel. You can also find me at Erik_Bets_Fights on Instagram. Let's see, what do I have going on? I have a trivia show called Mixed Martial Smarts that I put out on the Never Hedge Media YouTube channel. That's Tuesdays. I usually release my full card breakdown on Wednesdays. I have a show on Thursday nights called Big Money Bets. It's a live show where I bring on a guest. And then I do a roundtable on the Never Hedge Media on Friday mornings, and then this show on Saturdays. So yeah, I'm up to 5 shows a week. I had to start saying no after that.
Sounds good. Lots of content. Go check out Erik. His link to his YouTube is down in the description below. Go show him some love. Uncle Weezy, let the people know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week.
Yeah, you can find me on my YouTube channel, Uncle Weezy. I go live every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock Central Time for Just a Tip with Uncle Weezy. We break down all the fights from a tape study and statistics perspective, and we finish with a greasy 4-leg parlay and Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. I'd like to thank everybody in here that just subscribed to the MMA Engine YouTube channel, got us over 1,000. Brady and I and Lou Betya and Monk, we've been working really hard on growing that channel for the last few months, and getting to 1,000 subscribers, getting monetized is a huge milestone for us. So I'd like to thank everybody that's subscribed over there. And if you haven't yet, get over there and subscribe. We're putting out some awesome content over there. The probability show that we're doing on Thursday nights is like nothing else that's out there available on the web. The amount of analytics and numbers that we're giving out on that show is really redefining how people look at value for over, under, and time prop bets. You can also find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday for Stat Diggers, every Wednesday for the DFS show, and every Saturday for the Watch Along. And you can find me on DFS by the Numbers YouTube channel every Saturday for Best Bet. You guys, thank you for spending your afternoon with us, and let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC 275.
Sounds good. Weezy, go check out Weezy. Go check out the MMA Engine as well. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. I'm sure I'll be pretty active on the socials tonight for some good fights. Looking forward to it as always. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. You guys killed it tonight. And hopefully we kill it tonight in terms of the bet. Should be a fun card. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe. All the great stuff. Thank you again for subscribing to the MMA Engine. And yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC 275. Me and Weezy will be back tomorrow night for Stat Diggers, breaking down UFC Austin, which is going to be awesome because I will be in attendance for that one. So yeah, should be fun. So that's about it, guys. Best of luck. Let us make some money for UFC 275.